Welcome back, everyone. It is I, the Oscar-nominated a-hole, and today we're going to be talking about a triple news coverage. 1 for Captain Marvel, 2 for Star Wars. Which is really weird because you'd think we'd have more Captain Marvel news, but no, we have more Star Wars news. But we're going to first start with Captain Marvel stuff because we all know that is what we want. We want the shit on Captain Marvel. So I watched Grace Randolph's video about the percentage score for the second weekend box office drop. And of course I could word by word say, so now the second weekend box office drop has fallen. And it goes to prove the Marvel engine is still running. Oh, shut up, Brie Larson. Shut up, Grace Randolph. Oh my God. Stop hyping it up as it's this great thing, okay? Because you're not taking a couple things into account, and so therefore I would like to put my little perspective and spin upon this current status, this little predicament that we're going through within the second weekend box office. And I know a lot of people out there who might listen to this might be like, but Oscar-nominated a-hole. Don't you think that maybe the numbers are true? Like, don't you think that this is proving you wrong? Hold on a second. I am very much so willing to admit my faults. But there's been a little situation currently going around, a little conspiracy theory, and there's been actual proof, photographic evidence of this, in order for us to have a little bit of doubt in regards to this whole situation. And that is, of course, the fact that there have been photographs of people who have gone to sold-out showings of Captain Marvel, and they, along with maybe 10 other people, are the only ones in the theater, and no one else shows up. How is it that a completely sold-out event only has a few people in it? Now, I haven't been covering this topic because I'm not a believer in it, but it is very strange. And so, if this was debunked immediately and wasn't a big thing, and they were like, it came out, and then the first day everyone was like, well, dude, it's because of this, and then everyone was like, oh, okay, and then they just moved on, then I would say, yeah, the box office numbers are right. But the thing is that it's not. There's a lot of photographic evidence to prove otherwise. And so what a lot of people are thinking is that Disney's buying tickets. No, why would Disney buy tickets, you might ask? Easy. Kevin Feige is trying his best to push an SJW agenda into Marvel. And the only way to do so is by, of course, making it obvious and make it known that the Captain Marvel franchise, the head runner of this SJW political scam within the next phase of the MCU, is doing pretty well in regards to the box office. So, what they're trying to do, I think, Disney is trying to boost up the numbers, even though it makes no sense because they're still losing money, but they're doing it for news coverage for them to say, look, see, people are going to go see Captain Marvel, but the problem is they realize that the people, such as you and I, are not that dim-witted, stupid, and idiotic, because we personally know and see and can understand with our own eyeballs and using our own reason and intellect that this is absolute complete bullshit, and we're not going to believe it for 1 second. So, anyways, that's what I think about the box office. Now, if if you're anywhere below 50% in regards to the second weekend box office drop, that's really, really good. Infinity War did it. Apparently, Thor 1 did it, which I was really shocked, and Black Panther did it, and I think 1 or 2 other. The Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie did it too. So, really good, right? And if you are above, if you're more than 59%, so 60 or higher, that's bad. That's really, really bad. So for it to be 55% for Grace Randolph and all these other people to be praising it, it's average. What are you talking about? This is an average box office drop. And plus, you can't tell me that, 55%, it's normal. No, it's not normal. Do you not see this whole thing? It's obvious that there's a boycott going on against this movie. On top of that, there's people who have been diehard MCU fans, people that I know and love, people in my family and people that I've known in college who are diehard MCU fans, who are looking at this film and going, I don't even want to go see it, and they haven't seen it. And I've confirmed this with them. Even my cousin, who is a diehard MCU fan, has seen every film in theaters. Not even a female, who is 18 years old, doesn't even want to go see your film, Brie Larson. Which goes to prove that you're not hitting your key demographic. So, the boycott's going on. There's people who just don't want to watch the movie because they don't like the agenda. There's people also who just say this looks boring, and it's not their cup of tea. And then there's other people who are like, I've heard the spoilers has nothing to do with Endgame, and I really don't want to go see a movie that has nothing to do with Endgame, especially when people are saying it's a boring, dull, not worth your money and time, waste of a ride in the theaters. So, all that to say, and then on top of that, the whole Disney scandal in regards to the conspiracy theory of the tickets and the empty theaters to sold-out events. Very fishy, Disney. Very fishy. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next little piece of news, and that is, of course, Kathleen Kennedy is going to be going to Star Wars Celebration. Hurrah! We win. I'm kidding. As you all know, I'm a part of a movement called the Fandom Menace, and I know a lot of them are going to Star Wars Celebration. I know that you will most likely not be able to answer or ask Kathleen Kennedy a question, but what I'm thinking is, why can't you boo her? I think that's one thing that we can definitely do as a Fandom Menace is to boo Kathleen Kennedy, definitely. Once she walks out on stage, and president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, everyone just boo. Like all get together, all the Fandom Menace, and I know a good majority of people, going like 50, 60 people, just get in a group and all boo! That would be very interesting. And what would be really great is if you really could ask Kathleen Kennedy a question, just have them all the Phantom Menace just back to back standing behind each other. And so one person can ask a question and she's like, I want to move on from that question. And then the next person comes up right behind them and go, really? Because I had that exact same question. I was wondering if blah, blah, blah. And then just keep pushing and pushing and pushing so that she eventually has to answer the question. Or, better yet, if they try to remove her away or stop all the questions altogether, that would be very interesting to see. But anyways, so that's the little bit of good news. We get to see Kathleen Kennedy come out of hiding and possibly even have her be booed at. Anyways, as you can tell, I have no love for Kathleen Kennedy. And then, of course, the third piece of news, which is sad. It is heart-wrenching to any Star Wars fan such as myself, and that is that Frank Oz, the creator and voice of Yoda, has come out against the fans. Ugh, heart is broken. How could you do this, Frank Oz? Frank Oz has come out and stated that people who hate The Last Jedi and people who don't like it need to calm down and suck it up and live with it, because movie makers and film directors should not make movies to cater to crowds and their expectations. Frank Oz, are you nuts? If you don't cater to your crowd, guess what? You're not going to make money. That's the thing. What you have to learn, Frank Oz, as well as Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, is that the thing is that you're supposed to cater to your audience, but also put a little bit of originality into it. AKA, look at George Lucas. George Lucas created the Phantom Menace, the Phantom Menace, Episode 1, with a lot of Jar Jar Binks. And a lot of fans came back and were like, George, we don't like Jar Jar. You need to make him less prominent. And hey, we like sword fights. More lightsaber fights. And so George was like, okay, fine. George didn't go on Twitter or social media or on television or anything and was like, the fans can go screw themselves. They need to lower their expectations. What did George do? He sucked it up, grew some balls. The maker of Star Wars, who, if anyone in their right mind had the right or the ability to say such things to us, it was George himself. But no, George is a kind-hearted gentleman, and he is a true man. He is 100% testosterone male. He sucked it up, he lived with it, and he was like, you know what, the fans don't want Jar Jar as much, and they want more lightsaber fights in action. Fine, I'll give it to them. And then the romance with Padme in Episode 2. Oh, it's so bad. But it was necessary, I know. And, of course, Hayden Christensen was very cringy in that first one, but you can't blame it really all on him. And so people were like, okay, good job, George. Less Jar Jar. We really appreciate that. Really cool action set pieces. Okay. But the love, cringy, and Hayden Christensen was also cringy. So he had the culmination in Episode 3, which is an all-time great Star Wars film. In my personal opinion, the best, and one of an all-time great film altogether. And it had literally one Jar Jar scene where he does not talk. And then You barely see any romance between Padme and Anakin, and Hayden Christensen's Anakin is totally not as cringy as he was in the second one. The fight scenes are huge, they're epic, they're big. It's just an all-around great film, and guess why? Because he took constructive criticism. Gotta spit that out. He took constructive criticism, which is what every person has to do. I am currently writing a novel, and it's the first book that I will be releasing and selling. And if people come back to me and tell me, hey man, I like this part about your book, but I didn't like this part, or you didn't do so well on this part, I'm not going to look at the people buying my books and go, yeah, I really don't care what you think, okay? I wrote the books, and you should just lower your expectations. You know why? Because I'm going to look at them and go, you guys are buying my books. You're giving me money to do the thing that I love. So what am I going to do? I'm going to listen and improve on myself based on what everyone is saying. This is selling and buying 101. Frank Oz, grow the F up. You are a legend, and we all love you within the Star Wars community. But for you to come against the fans like that, it's a serious problem, and it just goes to show that Lucasfilm right now is totally and absolutely immoral and bankrupt beyond belief within regards to loving the fan base. And because of this, I think that you now can really tell it with Frank Oz. Like, if it goes to Frank Oz, before long it's going to be John Williams. But thank God John Williams is going to be off after 9, so thank God. Anyways, what do you guys and gals think about this whole situation? Any of the 3 pieces of news, whether it's the Captain Marvel 55% drop weekend box office, second weekend box office, or if it's Kathleen Kennedy coming out in celebration for the first time in like over a year and a half, or if it's Frank Oz and his comments against the fan base. Now, if you're a huge Frank Oz fan or a huge Star Wars fan in regards to the sequel trilogy, do not think that I'm saying that Frank Oz is an idiot and he's a terrible person and I hate him now. No, I love Frank Oz. I love Yoda. He's one of my favorite characters of Star Wars. But what he said only proves the total demoralization and hatred toward the fan base that is currently going on Lucasfilm. If it can go to Frank Oz, before you know it, it could go to people like John Williams and I wouldn't even rule out Dave Filoni at this point. But I do have hope. I do have hope. Let's just hope that one day a General Grievous can rise up from the ashes and remove 4 lightsaber blades and just start slicing down Lucasfilm and rebuild. Rebuild, my fellows. Rebuild. Anyways, I hope that you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic rest of your day.